I'm just running like 5 miles today. I'll try not to go too fast.
We'll do a little big stretches here.
At the start of COVID, I really got into running because that was pretty much all there was for me to do. I kind of fell in love with it. It kind of became my therapy, running. And then obviously I was offered the opportunity to run in the marathon for Team World Vision. And I was just like, yes, this is something that I feel like I've indirectly been working towards. I've really had to challenge myself and get up early, sometimes 6 a.m.s, to get up and run. But at the end of the day, it's not about me, it's for World Vision.
The average walk in Africa to get to a water source is 4 miles one way. And that's where we can exit from the area in the country so that the local indigenous leaders of the country and residents can have a sustainable way of life that gives them a flourishing way of life. The US side is providing funding for their budget that is all locally driven, and slowly we exit out of that and release the entire thing to them. We have events all over the country and all over the world that we participate in, that we have athletes participate in. So there's events in South Africa, Tokyo Marathon, Berlin Marathon, London Marathon, New York Marathon, LA Marathon, Seattle Marathon. The Chicago Marathon's our largest participation. It was the first event we did. So we have nearly 1,500 runners this year in the marathon. We usually get close to or over $3 million of fundraising here in Chicago.
They have a mission of helping children and those that need clean water, and I just felt really led to do something about that other than just like something I can do that's attainable, rather than just like sitting on the side and being like, oh, I can't run a marathon, but I really can.
Part of providing water just means that I can fulfill what I think Christ talks about when we are to be a part of the kingdom of heaven. I think that any way I can provide for the people around the world that God has chosen and loved is just, it's meaningful to me, and I know it's meaningful to him.
Figure of 1 person every 10 seconds is getting clean water from World Vision. So that's what you do. You think about that when you're running.
I think we're 9 days. I have a little calendar going. So it scares me, but.
What's your motivation at this point?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's more of just like I want to be prepared for that day.
Yeah, if I'm prepared for the day, or the more prepared I am, the easier it'll be. So
There's been a lot of ups and downs. Fortunately, I have kind of gotten into running throughout my life, so that was nice. I didn't really have to start from square one.
Do you have like a history of running at all before this?
I ran, not really, not really. I had ran a little bit just when I was younger. I trained for a 5K. And so, I mean, I knew it was going to be difficult. I always knew that I wanted to run it. And then I started looking and hearing about World Vision, and I was like, well, instead of just doing this, just for myself, I could kind of create a bigger cause and work towards something else.
So I heard about the marathon through a friend at Olivet. He said that Olivet has a team for World Vision that runs the Chicago Marathon every year. He must have kept me in the right mood because I decided that day to sign up for it.
My mom ran the Chicago Marathon in 2012. She was running through World Vision, and she found out through Olivet. And then Olivet Chapel talked about the World Vision Marathon, and I felt like I needed to run it. I ran track and field in middle school, but besides that, I have no running history.
I was running a little bit before high school, but just like kind of like a hobby. And then last year, one of my roommates ran the Chicago Marathon, and I was just started training with her, and I just felt like, wow, like this is watching her go through that process, I was like, I want to say yes to this. I just felt that the Lord was calling me to run it, and something that, even though it was really hard, but something that I know I could do.
I mean, everybody can imagine 26 miles, 26.2, and say, I don't want to do that, you know? And just about everybody I've ever met that we recruit says, I'm not a runner. I don't want to do that. And so the fact that people sign up to do it means that God is at work in their lives, leading them to do it.
I couldn't even comprehend how long like 16 miles was when I first started. And so like when I hit that the first time, I was like, wow, I just for the first time realized what it's like to run that far.
World Vision created a plan for us to run, and we followed that. They actually had a plan for us from the beginning of April up until now. Throughout the week, we would run 3 miles one day, and then as we had a higher mileage for our long runs on the weekend, we would also run like a 7-mile during the week just to keep us prepped and active.
In a perfect world, I would follow that to a T. I've been more disciplined about it this year.
I feel like training overall has been difficult because it's been difficult to stay on the schedule.
Sometimes you have to listen to like what your body tells you and things like that. Sometimes you just can't do a run, or you have to stay up and study.
I think the biggest obstacle is the mental mindset. So I have been blessed to not have any physical like problems, I guess. Like I'm in pain every once in a while when I run long distances. I'm sore, but it's mostly a mental game. It's
a lot of times where I was just like, is this kind of silly to continue training just because of a lot of pain and just like issues with that.
Like, oh, can I really keep going? Maybe I should stop.
There's definitely a moment probably that everyone faces where you realize like, oh gee, I'm only halfway of what I'm actually going to be running. And that was, I didn't even imagine running that far.
I'd say it's definitely been a challenge to balance training amongst like just regular life.
Pretty much I'm 8 to 5 every day with school and tennis. It is tough for me to realistically go run, 10 or 12 miles in the morning and then go efficiently practice in the afternoon.
I had a friend that was like, it's kind of just like another job, which feels so true because it's kind of when like looking at my week, like when can I fit in training amongst like friends and family and schoolwork and just like a regular job.
There are events that go on in life, obviously, and some days I didn't feel like running, and some days were just not good running days. I didn't prep enough for how much water I would drink the day before. I didn't eat well.
I kind of split my runs between, sometimes I'll do them at night and I'll just do a night run, and sometimes I'll get up really early and do them. School gets in the way, obviously, so I definitely had to start going to bed earlier, just, saying to people like, sorry, I got to go to bed like 9 or 10 because I got to get up at like 5 or 6 to do a run.
Not only just like with the goal of like running the marathon, but just training for it as well was like the sacrifice of time and just energy, and sometimes just like trying to get motivation to get up and like run in the morning was just like super tough.
To watch the different sizes and shapes and ages and ethnicities and backgrounds come together and just put it out there. I mean, it is, you lay down your life for the 6 months of training that you do typically.
I'm only 21 years old, but I'm definitely feeling some of the tennis and running taxation on my body, whether that's in my knees, or just whatever it could be. So it has been tough. Sometimes I'm running the long runs and it feels like my legs are getting hurt a little bit easier.
I'm not really sure how my injury started. I thought it was like shin splints for the longest time, and it honestly, like, I've had this injury since beginning of training-ish. So just like that uncertainty, like people would ask me like, oh, you're running the Chicago Marathon, and I would just be like, yes, I am, just like kind of like questioning it myself. But just like I wasn't sure. Right before like one of the longest we would run together as a team, that I just like was like, I don't know if this is like a silly idea to like go and run this, and just like because I just was like in a lot of pain, even just like sitting around or like walking. I think my thought process of like not being able to run was just like, wow, I've really sacrificed a lot of time. So I went to like the doctor and I was just like, hey, like I'm running in a couple of weeks. Like, what is your thought process of this? And he kind of had told me like, you can either run it through the pain and then like we'll figure it out after, or just like don't run it. But like you've also put the training in. So I was kind of left up to me to decide, but I didn't feel like the Lord was like, no, you shouldn't run it. So I was like, okay, we're gonna go for it.
I was just talking to someone the other day, like when you get to this point in training, you are like looking back and you're like, oh guys, like we just have an 8-miler today, you know, we're at the taper. And like, even at the very beginning, if you told me like to run 4 miles, I would have been like, 4 miles is, you know, I don't know if I could do that.
It looks intimidating because it is a lot of miles, but you never start out with that big of a picture. It starts off so slow and your training is so gradual. And as you figure out your running routine and you find joy in it, it'll be so gradual that once you get to the 20-miler and then you get to the week before, you're like, yeah, I can do this.
I'd say like physically too, just like I didn't think that my body could do it, but it could. And for anyone that's like considering and like they feel like it's a possibility, that they should totally go for it and say yes.
There are definitely some long runs that have put me through it, tested me physically and mentally, but mostly just generally it's always just a fun process and very rewarding.
One, two, three.
Hey! Great to see you. Good to see you too. You are all being such great, amazing servants of yours, and we just admire you, and we're all cheering for you and praying for you. You all are going to do amazing tomorrow.
And we just pray that everyone will have the endurance they need to finish the race well, and we pray for this food tonight, and that you will nourish us well. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I'll sit at the finish line. You expected
No, we all want to watch you. You get some main character action.
John, how much food are you going to eat tonight?
As much as I possibly can. For me, the biggest thing about World Vision is the team that supports you. Like, I can't imagine at this point doing it alone. We'll like show up for long runs and they'll bring like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and things like that. You know, it helps you get up at, 5:30. It helps you, kind of get through because you know that there are going to be people at the end.
Being a part of the World Vision team it just has felt like a family. Knowing that I have like a team surrounding me that has my back has also been like so helpful in like getting me to the finish line.
Sometimes you're getting out there in the morning and you're running, 14 miles, and you're like, this is just me out here running, and it's just me against the world. But when you get out there with the team and you're all wearing your jerseys and everything, you're under the same mentality. It's pretty cool to see everybody who's been putting in the work. And then obviously on race day, when you show up and I don't know how many thousands of people are running it, that's just an awesome atmosphere.
It's really been helpful to run with people. And I think when I run the actual Chicago Marathon, to be surrounded by so many people, that's going to be encouraging.
Carb load. You full already?
No, this is probably 1 out of 3. No, it actually came out. I don't think it's going to go honestly the day before.
Did you eat that entire pizza by yourself? Okay.
Hi. You get it. Woo!
I'm sitting like in class and everything, and people are talking about the marathon. I feel the adrenaline. I feel some excitement.
I'm really excited. I think I have a lot of adrenaline.
I feel super nervous and just like unsure what to expect.
I'm really scared, honestly.
I know like there's been a lot of training, but just like I don't think I like feel prepared to run 26.2 miles, and I don't really know how that's gonna go.
During my 20-miler, I was able to run nonstop up until 13 miles. So I'm hoping to do that again, to run all the way through 13 miles.
I started off with a great pace for the first 19 miles last year, and then I cramped at mile 19 pretty badly. So this year I want to just take my time and enjoy it, and just think about, you know, the opportunity I have.
I've had like some knee pain, so just the idea that it could all go south like very quickly in the first couple of miles after like months of practice, you know, is pretty scary, but I think it'll be okay.
I think that's what's so significant about this unique combination of sacrificing your running, your body to run, to take away the sacrifice that they have to go through. That's why I think it's so darn purposeful and meaningful and so emotional.
What does it mean specifically to you to be able to run it with World Vision?
I can give an example or kind of a story from last year. Last year I didn't hit my goal in terms of what I was hoping to raise money-wise, but I did raise enough, so it was essentially every mile I ran, I had raised enough money for one kid to have clean water for the rest of their life. I knew that mile 1, I was raising money for a kid, and then mile 20, when I was cramping and it felt like I wasn't able to finish, I was raising money for a kid. And then obviously the last mile, I was still raising money for a kid. For me, running past 10 miles is a mentality. So me repeating that to myself inside my head is the best thing for me to do to get me through it.
In my weakness, God creates the best story. When I come to the end of myself and I just lay out my hands wide open to God and say, I can't do this, they can't do this, you're at the weakest moment, God creates the best story right at that moment, and the strength comes alive. I barely raised my finger to say, I'm willing, you know, and God took it and said, all right, I'm going to create such a good story, you just tell it the rest of your life.
Alright, we're good, you know. So I'm thinking about a half marathon. I have some friends doing the marathon, and they're like, hey, we're thinking about doing some fun races, even a mud race. Yeah, so that's all fun.